Where the hell did this show come from? Scavengers Reign was on nobody's radar, and that's a damn shame because this show should be on everyone's radar. Not only is this one of the best shows I've seen this year, this is the most original, mesmerizing piece of science fiction I've seen in years. If you're a fan of sci-fi, then this is 1000% a show you need to watch. If you don't subscribe to Max, then maybe it's about time you should, because Scavengers Reign is worth the subscription. Created by Joseph Bennett and Charles Hutner, the remaining crew of a damaged interstellar freighter ship, the Demeter, find themselves stranded on a beautiful yet unforgiving alien planet, Vesta Minor. The survivors include Ozzy and her robot companion Levi, the ship's captain Sam and botanist Ursula, and lastly, Kanan. As these groups of survivors struggle to locate their downed ship and missing crewmates, their new home on the planet reveals a hostile world allowed to thrive without human interference. What's so incredible about the show, and arguably its biggest draw, is the planet Vesta. Vesta is one of the most exquisite planets I think I've ever seen in the science fiction genre. And that's the biggest compliment I can give this show. This is unlike anything you've ever seen before. I struggle to find something to compare it to, and the closest I can muster is maybe Avatar, but even that is a stretch. Scavengers Reign doesn't copy and paste from other sci-fi films or shows. It does its own thing. In fact, I'd argue that this show has more in common with something like Planet Earth than it does with anything else in the genre. That's because this is a fully fleshed out world. The world building in the show is just insane. The amount of imagination in every scene is just astounding. Most other shows or films in this genre that have incredible worlds will show you like a creature, and we as an audience are like, oh, that's a cool creature. And then the show or film just moves on. But here in Scavengers, they not only show you dozens of cool creatures per episode, they also show you how the species interacts with its environment, or how the environment is affected by those species. In other words, the show doesn't just have cool, creepy crawlies, it builds a whole ecosystem. Every episode, hell, every scene in the show introduces a new concept or new creature that is wholly original, which is a massive achievement in my book. Just when you think you've seen everything the show has to offer, it continuously spoon feeds you more ideas and concepts. And what I love about the show is that it isn't afraid to slow down its pace to revel in the world's beauty. As an example, there is an episode early on called The Wall. Sam and Ursula are trying to traverse through a giant wall that is morphing as they walk through it. Something catches Ursula's eyes and she runs over to see what it is. What happens next is a 3-minute sequence that is just breathtaking. And I could be here all day listing off all of the clever and original ideas the show puts forward, but just trust me when I say, this is a mesmerizing show unlike anything you'll see in its genre. And our survivor's journey is a blast to watch. Ozzy, Levi, Sam, Ursula, and Kanan are all memorable characters. Kanan in particular, but we'll get to him later. I would say Sam and Ursula's journey was probably my favorite of the bunch. Their story had the most momentum, and they encountered the most of what the planet had to offer. Watching Sam and Ursula problem solve their way back to the Demeter over the course of 12 episodes was a thrill to watch. It's a thrill because in each episode they encounter a new problem the planet has thrust into their lap. Whether it's being trapped in a water creature's belly as an attacker draws close, or body-changing parasites, what they experienced on Vesta kept me on my toes each episode. And I don't want to spoil what happens in the end between these two characters, but it was a heartbreaking conclusion to their companionship. Ozzy and Levi were also a pleasure. Specifically what happens to Levi. Early on, Levi gets infected by an organism from the planet and allows Levi to become, let's say, more human. It is a cool concept to watch something that is mechanical slowly morph into something organic. It's an interesting transformation for the character, makes for some beautiful, serene moments. Ozzy's journey is a complicated one. What starts as a buddy-buddy travel plot quickly turns to a tale of survival and morality. I won't say what she encounters later on in the season, or rather who she encounters, but it's a challenge for Ozzy as a character, and watching her grow was a delight. Then there's Kanan. I'm not gonna lie, early on, I thought Kanan's storyline was the weakest of the bunch. Ozzy, Sam, and Ursula's stories had good momentum to them. They were always on the move, always experiencing something new around each new corner. But Kanan's story felt stagnant. I felt it slowed the pace down of the show. But then a few episodes later, he became the most interesting character to me. The more you find out about Kanan, the more complex he becomes. Not to mention his weird symbiotic relationship with one of the planet's creatures, which serves as the main villain of the show. And boy, what a villain it was. Every time this creature was on screen, I was instantly mad. I'm not joking here, but this might be one of the best villains I've seen in a while because I hated it every time it was on screen. It constantly destroys and ruins any hope these survivors have at getting off the planet or just surviving in general. It's a fantastic foil for our characters. If I have one complaint about the show, it's that Kanan gets sidelined for the whole middle section. Once I really got invested into Kanan as a character, the show puts him away for about 7 or 8 episodes and doesn't bring him back until the end. And I thought that was kind of a bummer because I was just getting into Kanan as a character, only for the show to rip him away from the story. However, this is a very, very small, minor nitpick and didn't ruin my overall enjoyment of the show. And look, Scavengers Reign is unlike anything I've seen in the sci fi genre. And again, if you love sci fi, then you need to watch this show. Hell, if you just like nature documentaries, you should watch this show. Outside of maybe The Boy and the Heron, this is the most imaginative, original story I've seen this year. Please don't skip out on this one. It is a must watch.